Smack It Off the Podcast is coming soon. Why would you assume something different? Smack It Off the Podcast is preparing now to tell you why your team is so horrendous. Oh dear, what a shame. Always the same game. Loser at all things. No luck that it brings. Fails at every try. Can't help but sigh. Clumsy and in wit. Can't seem to quit. Trips over on feet. Defeat is so sweet, pathetic poor soul, can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend. Smack It Off the Podcast is coming soon. Why would you assume something different? Smack It Off the Podcast is preparing now to tell you why your team is so horrendous. Oh dear, what a shame. Always the same game. Loser at all things. No luck that it brings. Fails at every try. Can't help but sigh. Clumsy and in wit. Can't seem to quit. Trips over on feet. Defeat is so sweet, pathetic poor soul, can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend. Trips over own feet, defeat is so sweet, pathetic, poor soul can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend. Trips over own feet, defeat is so sweet, pathetic, or so can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend. Trips over own feet, defeat is so sweet, pathetic, for soul can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend. Trips over own feet, defeat is so sweet, pathetic, for soul can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend. Smack It Off the Podcast is coming soon. Why would you assume something different? Smack It Off the Podcast is preparing now to tell you why your team is so horrendous. Oh dear, what a shame. Always the same game. Loser at all things. No luck that it brings. Fails at every try. Can't help but sigh. Clumsy and in wit. Can't seem to quit. Trips over own feet. Defeat is so sweet, pathetic, poor soul can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend. Smack It Off the Podcast is coming soon. Why would you assume something different? Smack It Off the Podcast is preparing now to tell you why your team is so horrendous. Oh dear, what a shame. Always the same game. Loser at all things. No luck that it brings. Fails at every try. Can't help but sigh. Clumsy and dim-wit. Can't seem to quit. Trips over own feet. Defeat is so sweet. Pathetic, poor soul can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend. Trips over own feet, defeat is so sweet, pathetic, poor soul can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend. Trips over own feet, defeat is so sweet, pathetic, poor soul can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend. Trips over over own feet. Defeat is so sweet, pathetic, for soul can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend. Trips over own feet, defeat is so sweet, pathetic, for soul can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend.
Peppers.
Smack It Off the Podcast is coming soon. Why would you assume something different? Smack It Off the Podcast is preparing now to tell you why your team is so horrendous. Oh dear, what a shame. Always the same game. Loser at all things. No luck that it brings. Fails at every try. Can't help but sigh. Clumsy and in wit. Can't seem to quit. Trips over on feet. Defeat is so sweet, pathetic, poor soul can't reach any goal. But hey, don't you fret, you're not beaten yet. Keep on trying, friend, maybe luck will bend. Smack It Off the Podcast is coming soon. Why would you assume something different? Smack It Off the Podcast is preparing now to tell you why your team is so horrendous. Oh dear, what a shame. Always the same game. Loser at all things. No luck that it brings. Fails at every try. Can't help but sigh. Clumsy and in wit. Can't seem to quit. Trips over on feet. Defeat is so sweet. Pathetic for soul can't reach.
Dr. Ball's in the house! Where the fuck you at?
Dr. Balls is a presentation of Smacking Off the Podcast.
Dr. Ball's in the house. What's going on? The doctor knows who's going down. Dr. Balls will know.
What's going on?
What's up? Welcome back to the show, guys.
Let me make sure everybody's in here.
I hear some big singing going on. Is that Tabitha?
No, it's me.
Oh. Okay.
I was wondering if somebody was at a karaoke bar.
No, she's in the next room. She apparently doesn't know she's on a podcast as well.
That's right. She's famous. She can bring millions of views to us, you know.
Well, at least you guys can hear me, so we know that for sure.
What's going on,
Yeah.
Sean?
Hey, how we doing, guys?
I'm good.
Yeah. Where
I'm
did
good.
Fuzz-
I finally seen the Bama skid come to an end.
Yeah,
Oh, I mean, sorry, two game skid.
2 games. It's a skid. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a skid. It felt like a skid mark in my underwear.
well, they was a
very,
big game.
very challenging conference, and those were 2 very good teams.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, yeah. They got healthy real quick by beating up on Kentucky.
Yeah, that's what made me feel better, Bob. Appreciate
Hell
that,
yeah.
Bob.
I hate it, man. That's what it is. The Kentucky's shorthanded anyway. They're down 3 guys. 2 of them are critical guys. Butler and Robinson, and then Creason will look like somebody could really do something early in the year. But I mean, they playing pretty good considering that they don't really have a point guard. But the Alabama was just a better team, and we got close a few times. But in general, you all shut the door. And hats off to Alabama, and I'm glad they stopped their skid. And I see, is Big Ed on with us? What's going on, Ed?
I'm right here, yeah, watching the Gators trying to fight back.
Yeah, they're getting house rooked at Georgia. That seems to be a common theme this year.
They're down by 3.
Down by 3 with a few seconds left.
2
I
minutes.
guess I'll pull up the Alabama Mississippi State game.
Oh, yeah, I was checking the minute out earlier before I got on here, but I didn't want to slow the internet down too much. Thought I got 3 kids and my wife and 2 dogs all on it.
Are you
My dog's
are you doing your TV programming over the internet now?
Most of it, yeah. I can't pick nothing else up out here any other way. Now, you can get cable, straight up cable, but it's ridiculously expensive, so I'm doing live Hulu.
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. YouTube TV was pretty good. They've gotten pretty expensive too. Hulu's pretty expensive. From what I'm hearing this year by football season, ESPN's going to have a standalone service.
Well, that's what I've been waiting on. If I just get in, I'd ditch all that, and the rest of it, hell, I'd watch Pluto TV and Freevee and that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
And hell, I was just watching the Duke Miami blowout a few seconds ago, and it was live on YouTube. And you can catch a lot of these games for a while until YouTube pulls them down, you know. But
Yeah.
some of them go through.
Some of them stay up for the whole game.
Yep. So that's all right. But no, of course, if you're ESPN, you don't love that.
No,
Yeah, taking that money out of their pockets.
Oh
it
yeah.
is. Except for their sponsors are still getting exposure. Then.
Yeah, but
that's
it's
the
still
only
taking
thing.
money out of their pockets. Then
Unless it's people that wouldn't subscribe anyway.
correct.
And it's
Then it
ridiculous.
just gives their sponsors a little bit more, little more bang.
Yeah, because you guys talk about Hulu Live, DirecTV, or YouTube TV. DirecTV Stream is getting up there too. But
Yep.
I stupidly got suckered into a contract that runs out in November. So I was able to suspend it for 3 months when they started that BS during football season with the LSU USC game. But there was no way I could get out of my contract. So I've got to deal with that until November of next year. And then I can look at freely at more options.
Now, in football season this year, I found it interesting that ABC had kind of made up for CBS's deficit because used to you had more channels of live football on TV because CBS was there as well. So you'd have your CBS game of the week, you'd have your Fox game of the week, and then you'd have ABC, and all that was available via the rabbit ears. And now ABC is just basically showing football from 11 a.m. to 1 in the morning. So if you're not choosy about what game you want to see and you're not trying to follow an individual team, if you had rabbit ears, you could get by on the weekend. But me as a Kentucky fan, they stole that from us. We used to get almost all of our games free over the rabbit ears thanks to the UK Basketball Network and Jefferson Pilot, and almost all of our contract with CBS that we had for many years. So almost all of our games were free. And now you have to get an extra tier of cable and buy the SEC network. So it's just, to me, it's you have to be dedicated. And I'm looking at a day where they're probably going to try to charge you per individual game. You know, and they're
I
talking
mean,
about
yeah,
that.
we could get there, but if they can't get the thing is it comes down to sponsorship, and they're throwing sponsors on these games anyway. When it gets to the point where they can't get people to purchase the games, then if the people will hold steady, the games will come back for free.
Well, I know like the
A lot of them.
Atlanta Braves fans, they have been kind of in this roller coaster ride when it comes to what used to be Fox Sports South, then it was Bally Sports. Now I believe it's FanDuel Sports now, where the Braves games would be on and off and just rip from services from YouTube TV to Direct TV. Because I know there for a while, like you couldn't get Bally Sports on Direct TV, and that was where I watched the Nashville Predators hockey team. But now I think that they're offering a subscription service now to where you get FanDuel Sports or whatever to watch the Braves or whoever a team is affiliated through that. Because I know there's a lot of regional broadcasts, which I think a couple of the Ohio teams are there. The Texas teams, I think, were there. The Rangers, I think, were one of them that had a deal with Bally or FanDuel, Fox Sports, whatever the hell it's called now. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of getting that way is when they realize, like, okay, a lot of people are cutting the cord. And I was one of those people that started that in 2013, which going back to what you were saying, Dr.
Yeah, I did
Ball,
too. Yeah, I started that shit a long time ago.
yeah, but going back to what you were saying, Dr. Balls, with the Jefferson Pilot, ABC, the only thing missing from that in this modern day is Keith Jackson, Wo Nelly, all that good stuff.
Don't forget Raycom. Remember Raycom Sports?
Yeah, Raycom, Jefferson Pilot. They were kind of
ACC. I love the Sunshine Network.
Yeah. Oh, the Sunshine. Yeah, that's Floridians would be familiar with the Sunshine Network.
I remember the Sunshine Network.
Well, because you know, if you guys recall, for those of us that watched college football in the 90s, the conferences were all regionally, aligned. And ABC, even before now it's basically flipped. It's ESPN, but ABC at the time had that college game plan package. So
ESPN game plan, and it was fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. Because like growing up, all ABC would give me in the Midwest was all the Big Ten games, and you didn't get any ACC, SEC, or Pac-10 at the time. It was Pac-10 days, so you had to get that, and then you could. But they would kind of run them through some of those feeds, like of those channels you were talking about. So it's like a little logo at the bottom, Raycom or Sunshine or whatever the network was.
But I will say this: if it wasn't for ESPN game plan, I would have never had the great appreciation for Big Ten football in the 90s. I would have never watched it because around where we were, we had SEC, you had CBS, you had Jefferson Pilot, Raycom, Lincoln Financial. We can go through all the names that they were around that time. That would have been my limited source of television, which most people at the South will probably go, well, what are you complaining about? Well, I like to broaden my horizons. I'd like to do that throughout my entire life. But ESPN game plan opened up a big window for me.
Yeah,
and
same.
I mean, I had to mow a lot of lawns in order to be able, which at one point it was like $69.99 for the entire season, which you could buy weekly for like $10. But I bought that plan for one season. And I was able to not just watch SEC, but able to watch Big Ten, Pac-10, Big 12. I got a whole broader perspective of what the game of college football was. And it probably helped me into the career that I'm in now. But yeah, going back to that, you used to have those subscription services where you just get everything. Like you have NBA free pass and MLB TV now, which I think is streaming service. But I mean,
MLB TV is quite possibly the best.
I love it. Yeah, I had it 1 year. I absolutely love it. The only reason I didn't renew it is because I didn't just have enough time to watch that much baseball anymore.
I mean, if you have, and if hopefully they continue to do it, but if your cell phone is T-Mobile, you get it for free. You just have to. They they keep it where you have to sign up within a 2-week window. It's towards the end of March, first week of April, but if it's free, and I mean that is absolutely worth its weight in gold because, I get my two local teams here. I guess you could call them still local
And
in
even
in the A's and the Giants. But if I want to watch the Mets, the Braves, the Yankees, the Cubs, etc., I wouldn't be able to. But with MLB TV, and then the other thing is now they have that, I forget whatever the nickname for it is, but it's essentially like their red zone. So it'll like zip around when it's a big inning
Strike
or
Drive. I have
yeah,
that.
yeah, I love that. I
I have
love it.
I have that
The
with
only
my
thing that's
recent
killing
work.
them with that channel, which would make it better, is they have not synced up, and they really need to go back to everybody plays every day of the week, and they all take Monday off like they used to in the 80s. So then you'd have, more games to display. Whereas now you have some teams are off on Wednesday or Thursday or vice versa. So those days are like light fare per se because of the travel days. So, but that's really the only thing that's holding that that channel back, and I'm from being on par with Red Zone. Because you get it almost every night, and then now with ESPN dropping baseball, I think that actually I think is a good thing for MLB.
Hell yeah. I never really liked the broadcast of it. And I mean, as a player, I loved Joe Morgan and I thought he was a good analyst. I just didn't feel any chemistry. The broadcast, it never got me excited. And
Yeah, I wasn't a
Coach,
big fan of Joe Morgan on it, but I did like John Miller, who did the play-by-play. Who I think he's still doing radio play-by-play for the Giants now. But and Joe Morgan got caught with saying some things that were not historically accurate. Like he was doing a Cubs game on Sunday Night Baseball, and if you look at Wrigley Field, the top of the brick wall has those baskets that kind of jut up and out by about 18 inches. And on a broadcast, they call that Banks Boulevard because of all the home runs Ernie Banks hit into the basket. And like the next day, 670 The Score in Chicago fact checked it, and the baskets were in for all of one season, Ernie Banks's last season, and he hit exactly one home run into it. So and it was never called that. So they caught him in a faux pas per se in broadcasting.
But
But
John Miller though was probably part of the soundtrack of my childhood, along with
yeah, John Miller though made it all. Yeah, his voice was like, "All right, it's Sunday night. It's time for baseball."
and it was like Gary Thorne in the '90s. You knew hockey was on.
Yeah, I mean, you had him, and like you already mentioned, Keith Jackson for college football, and then for me, for the NFL, it was Dick Enberg. Like, because I'm an
prior to
AFC
him,
guy, I knew it was a big AFC game when Dick Enberg came on, and it was usually I think him and Merlin Olsen did a lot of games together.
Not mad
oh
at
yeah.
that. Not mad at that, but I will counter with Pat Summerall and John Madden.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
On the baseball, I'll go back to Joe Garagiola, right? Now that was the voice of my youth. He was, I don't know if he was the announcer for the Reds games. He did a lot of national
Oh yeah.
broadcast. And that was the guy for me. And Harry Carey, you always see him on the Cubs games, and they're talking about the guy from LA that was such a big deal. I only seen him, I never really heard him, Vin Scully, much at all. So for me, even though I thought they were great, I never understood the hoopla over Joe Garagiola for those guys because I wasn't from that region, and I'm not a Dodgers fan. But I did hear some Vin Scully stuff in the 70s and 80s when the Reds and the Dodgers were both in the National League West. So I got some of Vin Scully, but I never thought that he was better than Joe Garagiola. But a lot of people loved him, and I loved him too. So
What about Tony
you know,
Kubek?
well, that's what I hadn't heard in a while.
Or I
We
will.
just
I'll throw
we
one
just
out.
had a broadcaster recently pass Al Troutwig passed the other day, and now he was mostly New York, well, all the New York teams, but every now and then he'd do a national game. So he 68. He was pretty young too. So Rest in peace to Al Troutwig.
But also a quick shout out though to the old WTBS days and Chip Carey, which is probably like one of the most soothing voices that you ever could hear during a televised broadcast. Where you go,
Chip or Skip?
Chip. Or no, it was Skip
It'd
Carey.
be Skip.
Yeah.
I
Chip-
became a Braves fan because of that network. No, I'm not anymore, but I was, like when Chris Chambliss was playing.
I remember when I was working at a radio station in Atlanta, one of the hosts had a bit. It was called Evil Skip Carey, where he would just like do a broadcast, but he would say something just like outrageous. Like, for example, it'd be like, Chipper Jones to the plate, batting 2 for 4, batting 305 on the season, 10 home runs, and 65 RBIs. Last night I got blackout drunk and I had woke up to a hotel and the immigrant was rubbing my feet, and that's a ball outside, 2-1.
Well, I like it.
Exactly how he would do it.
So looks like we got two upsets of brewing here.
Oh yeah, did they lose or win?
There's 6 seconds left, and they're down 6. So they're shooting free throws, but it's not looking good. And then Pitt, who's living on the bubble, is about to die because they're going to lose at home to Georgia Tech, who's under 500. This is a bad loss for Pitt's hopes and dreams of going to the tournament.
Yeah. Now I'm looking at Google and I have the scores up for the day, but it's not updating them for today, which I find interesting. Usually it gives me like a live box, and but I saw a little bit of some of these games. So if we go back a few days to Saturday, obviously that was a massive day for college basketball. There was some interesting stuff that went on. Oh yeah, and Friday for Ed. Friday we had Michigan State and Michigan. How did that work out, Ed?
Michigan State won, and I predicted that Michigan State would win the game. So
You did. I remember that about you, Ed.
yeah, because
Third win in a row
Michigan.
for the Spartans in this series.
What's that?
Third win in a row for the Spartans in this series.
Look, Michigan State was ranked higher the whole year until that game. Michigan was ranked higher. Michigan State's got the more experienced team, has been playing together longer. I figured they'd win, and they did. I'm not worried about it.
I think you should worry about it, Ed.
They're a lock, right? They're a lock for the tournament, though. Wouldn't you say that Michigan's a lock for the tournament?
Of course, yes, they're like, yeah, they're 11-3 or 12-3 in the conference, of course.
There you go. So that was
But
a
we
big
got
game.
Big one tomorrow night.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. And we're looking at
Already going into College Park.
oh yeah, I see it right now. Maryland and Michigan. Oh, Michigan State and Maryland. That's a big game tomorrow at 6:30. You know, that's so early. Their supper barely have time to settle. You know.
No, I thought it was at 8.
Oh well, mine's saying tomorrow at 6:30. They may have that there. It may be an error, but they hell yeah. Now how is I don't know. With Maryland at home, I think they're better than Michigan State, but we'll get to that. Has anybody got the score on Mississippi State and Alabama right now?
Last I saw it was 8-5. Mississippi
Yeah.
State was in front.
Early.
Yeah, Bama's struggling a little bit early.
Hell yeah, that's a big match. Nah.
I'm in a
Tennessee's
commercial right now.
in a rock fight at LSU right now, 12-10.
Goodness. Well, we had some interesting stuff going on Saturday. Back to that. Now, I find an interesting upset was Arkansas beating Missouri. Of course, Arkansas was at home. Missouri was pretty highly ranked at 14. But does Calipari have a chance to do anything in the tournament, guys?
It's going to be tough. Like,
They got to get there, and they are on the bubble. They got some good wins.
They got to do a lot in the SEC tournament, I think.
I mean, they have a strong net ranking, or as other people call it, the RPI ranking, which I think is at number 39, I believe it was going into this week. But they have four quadrant one wins from what I understand, which is good. But the slow starts and just the lack of consistency down the stretch has been what's been hurting them. And the last 4 games that they have are going to be some tough ones, and they're going to be taking on another team that could be fighting for one of those last bids in the SEC as well, coming up here pretty soon against Texas. That's going to be a battle within itself right there.
Texas has perked up a lot, and they've gotten a lot better, I think. And they've got some players, and I didn't really know why they weren't consistent in the early parts of the season in the conference schedule, but now Texas looks really good to me. So that's going to be a real game, especially at Texas. There's one guy at Texas, Trey Jones or something. Anyway, there's one
Trey
kid
Johnson.
they got Trey Johnson. Yeah, he's going to the NBA, guys. I mean, there's no reason for him to stay after this year.
But Texas
there's
is not. Texas isn't getting in the tournament. I don't think.
I think they got a possibility.
And I'll get back on my soapbox that I've been on for the last 2 years. 2 years ago, the Big Ten had the best conference, from what all the pundits said. And then last year, the Big 12 had the best conference from what all the pundits said. And now this year, it's the SEC. And I'm going to get back on the soapbox yet again. At some point, despite you residing in a great conference, your conference record has to matter. And you talk about, like, if a team is 5-12 in their conference, despite the conference being great, you should not be a tournament team.
I agree.
I agree with
This is
that.
ridiculous.
That's too many losses.
And
But
they're gonna. Well,
but-
it's a big name from a big conference, so we'll bump out a much better deserving team from a smaller conference, and it's a joke.
But if they keep wanting to expand it, like some of the proposals that are being out there, you're almost going to be left with no choice.
An expansion is absolutely stupid. Like
I agree.
getting into the tournament should mean something. Otherwise, let's do what the high schools do in some states. Everybody gets into the tournament, and we just make the tournament, 8 weeks long.
Well,
So you don't work like at Kentucky. We only have one championship, and that's the champion. There's no 1A, there's no 2A, there's no 3A, there's no bullshit. There's 16 regions, right? There's 64 districts. You have to win or be the runner-up in your district to go to the regional. You have to win the regional to go to the Sweet 16, one of the 16 districts, and then you got 16 teams in the state tournament, win or lose, right? And to me, that's the way basketball will be played. And it makes the play-in game a little interesting for me in the NCAA tournament, but for me, that's the way basketball ought to be laid out.
My point, Dr. Balls, is you said at the district, the winner and the runner-up get to go to the regional, correct?
Right.
So in the district, all the schools in that district get to play in that playoff, correct?
In the district tournament.
Right. So
Right.
regardless
And you
of
get
whether they finish first or last in their conference in that district, they get to play regardless. So it's everybody gets a chance. And to Jason's point, like if we're going to expand it to talk about 84 or 96, then let's just let everybody in, and we'll start March Madness, the 1st of March, and we'll finish it on, April 30th.
February frenzy. That's what
Yeah, right.
February frenzy into March Madness.
Keeping it at 64 with the the play, so really it's 68 with the playing games is enough, And I'm sorry if you reside in a tough conference that year, you shouldn't get rewarded. Well, it's a good loss. What is a good loss? It's a loss. You lost.
Yeah.
Almost
And if
kinda
you
like
have
talking about the
double-digit
football playoff.
losses in your conference, sorry, you don't belong in the tournament.
But I will
I
say,
agree with you. What's that?
I will say this though, that looking at Texas, the last 4 games for Texas, if they can go 3-1 down this stretch, they might be able to get one of those at-large bids. Let's just say if we go into the Atlantic Sun where Lipscomb is the favorite,
And they get upset in their conference tournament because they're a one-bid league. I get what.
Yes, the Lipscomb gets upset in a bubble, Or you know what? Atlantic Sun may be a bad example. If we go to one of these where there could be like two
Here,
bids,
I'll give it. Let's use the Big South. High Point is 13-2. They're 25-5, but that league, the Big South, is only going to get one team. If they get upset by, say, Winthrop or Radford or UNC
out.
Asheville,
They're out.
they're out, and some bigger school is going to take that spot.
but yeah, but Texas with Arkansas coming up on the 26th. Then they have Georgia on Saturday, which Georgia just put off an upset against Florida. Texas plays Mississippi State on the road, and then they go back to home with Oklahoma, which at one point Oklahoma might have been in the running for maybe one of those, because there's projections out there that the SEC could get likely 11 to 12 teams. The realistic number
I've
could
seen
be
as
9.
many as 14.
Yeah,
I think that's crazy.
It is crazy. It's not going to happen. They might get like 11.
I mean, to me, the
It'd be a
SEC
lot.
should have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for sure, and I would put a maybe on Vanderbilt as 10. Arkansas is 5-9. If they lose another, that's double-digit losses in the conference. Same for Texas. Georgia, Oklahoma, and LSU are already in double-digit losses, so they should be eliminated. And
Yeah.
South Carolina is a joke. So,
Well,
to
if
me,
Georgia wins their last 3 conference, did they play 18 or 20 games in conference?
Maybe they play 18.
Or you
18.
can get craziness in the SEC tournament, which is as volatile and
so
unpredictable. as this
Georgia
season's
would
been.
have to win out. Texas or Texas would have to win out here to close the regular season, and they would then need a deep run in the SEC tournament to justify putting them in with what they're.
Now, Arkansas is capable of that, though. See, that's the whole reason I brought up Arkansas. The one team that has the talent to do that, right? I don't know if they have the wherewithal. The team left that's out there that has the talent to come from a bad position and go into the tournament and make a lot of noise is Arkansas. If you look at the talent, they might be the second most talented team in the country.
I completely agree with you on the talent with Arkansas, but the microcosm that is Arkansas was the last 3.5, 4 minutes of that game at Auburn. That was a typical Calipari coach team. It was undisciplined. It was selfish basketball. I don't think they scored a field goal in the last 2 minutes and 22 seconds after they finally had clawed their way back to take a 1-point lead over Auburn, and then it all went to hell in a handbasket because
Wagner tried to play hero. Wagner's hero ball. They tried to play hero ball. Just like you're saying.
It's not team basketball. It's talented 5 dudes out there, and Calipari can't put together, especially in the last 3 minutes of a game, team basketball that can put them in position to win. I mean, they had Auburn dead to rights, and then it all went to shit.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so Ed, go take you a bathroom break, and we'll be back here in a second.
Smacking Off the podcast can use your support. How can you support us? You can buy awesome products using our affiliate links. These are products you want, products you need, in other words, stuff you will likely buy anyway. Go to smackology.42web.io and use our affiliate links at the top of the page. eBay, Fiverr, CBD for Life, A Premium Auto Parts, Clear VPN, Haley AI, Fans Edge, and Pinpause. We appreciate your support today, as well as in the future.
Smacking Off merch is available at our spread shop. Find awesome hoodies and t-shirts in all colors. Want it in your team color? Hit us up and tell us what you want, and we'll send you the web address for your custom shirt within 1 day. Go to smackology1.myspreadshop.com. for awesome smacking off stuff.
It's Dr. Balls, can you feel that sound? In the house, got the party going down. Where you at? Better step on the scene. We drop a rhyme sharp like a damn machine. On the mic, I'm the remedy, no need for a doubt. You feeling low? Let me show you where we at. Get the vibe. I'm the one you can trust. When Dr. Balls drops, you can't help but thrust. On the mic, I'm the remedy, no need for a doubt. You feeling low? Let me show you where we at. Get the vibe. I'm the one you can trust when Dr. Balls drops. Dr. Balls in the house! Where the fuck you at?
Ow! I was just that little rap jam, and it just made me think of how easy rap is, right? It's just somebody can just have a little beat, they can go on about anything, about shoes, twos, blues. I mean, it just goes on and on.
They can work you into the fucking song and make a hit out of it, can't they, Bob?
Oh yeah, sure. It's fantastic.
When are you going to drop some bars, Dr. Balls? We going to call you Dr. Bars?
You could call me King Caucasian, right? A rap master of the hillbillies persuasion, because I'm the MC, the master of funk. Everything I put out ain't no junk. It's straight to the top for everything I say. And if you watch the basketball game that I'm going to play, we're going to drop some knowledge on you right now and take you out and show you how. And guys, that's what I really would love to have, is some way that I have like a studio where I could walk to the whiteboard and talk about how they ran that play. But yeah, that's how easy rap is, Jason. Any fool can still be else.
So now, should we call you Dr. Bars or MC Honky?
Yeah, oh yeah.
I like MC Honky.
I'm the hillbilly Mac. I put the bitches on their back for crack, and they give me stacks. You know what I'm saying?
Bars and balls. He's a doctor of balls.
That's right. It's just any idiot can steal somebody else's song and rhyme over. Give me some kind of beat, any kind of subject I could run on for hours. Anybody with an imagination can rap. There's nothing to it whatsoever. There's no skill involved. It's not some kind of great talent that people have. It's just, to me, it's the most amusing thing in the world. How easy people are sucked into stuff that's stupid and talentless by pop culture until they don't even have no meaning in their life, right? I mean, I'm looking at Red Noir.
Hold up. You're not talking about Humpty, though, right?
No, I loved Humpty, man. I thought he was a fire.
All right,
I was going to say Pac's raps were artistic, though.
Oh, I love Tupac.
Oh, yeah.
As a matter of fact, I'm going to say right now,
we're starting to stretch it out here on Mississippi State. They're almost got to a 10-point lead here.
I believe Tupac had the #1 rap of all time, guys. So I'm going to say this, and this might be a subject for the Balls Out podcast, but I'm going to say that Tupac had the #1 rap song all time, which to me, he called himself Machiavelli, but Hail Mary is probably the greatest rap song of all time, in my opinion.
Definitely up there.
Push me. Revenge like
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Dre Day. Dre Day, sorry.
Dre Day's pretty good. If it was my day, it'd be special. How about what is the Ice Cube? He goes, I'm shaking everyone like MJ. Today was a good day.
Absolutely.
Right?
That's a good one.
If I was going to go with a Tupac song, Dr. Balls, I'd go with Hit 'Em Up.
Oh, yeah.
Hit 'Em Up's really good. What's the one where he talking about? He goes, I hit the corner doing 90. The police was right behind me. Right? That's another one of my favorites. But they go.
Illinois, and what we thought was going to be a get-right game, is playing with their food again and letting Iowa hang around. And Iowa is not a good basketball team. So you talk about a team that is absolutely underachieved this season with a guy that's supposed to be an NBA prospect. Illinois is for my 2 cents on this podcast, is the most underperforming team with decent expectations this season.
Going to get Mack Truck all excited for nothing, right?
Iowa's not making the tournament.
No, not even close.
No.
But
Illinois is, and they've been on. We talked earlier. Jokingly, Doug said Alabama was on a skid, but I mean they really weren't. But Illinois has definitely been on a skid, and from going from non-conference where they were thought to be a potential Big Ten regular season champion to being, right in the, the middle, top tier middle of the conference. They're sitting there with a conference record of 9-8, and they really haven't looked well.
Yeah, I agree with that, Sean. And they had so much
high expectations. They had, they got guys coming back from last year's team, and then they brought in guys, and it's just, for whatever reason, I don't know if I think it possibly is Brad Underwood, to be honest with you. So this team should be much better than what they are.
Losing Coleman Hawkins probably didn't help either.
That certainly did not help. But I mean, it's not like they don't have talent there, and for whatever reason, they find ways to lose games.
That's awful. You want to find ways to win games, and
Right.
they really don't have anybody can step up at the end, right? That you trust is you can ride with. So they have to get the perfect play and work somebody open, and it's not happening.
No, it's not. And to me, their stock is on the decline.
They got
Tennessee's starting to stretch it out and down in Baton Rouge, up by 8 now on the Fighting Tigers.
Hell yeah.
Louisville's starting to put it on Virginia Tech. They're up by 10. And Bama's stretched it out now. Bama's up by 11. I think Bama will win this one going away. They've already beaten Mississippi State in Starkville earlier.
Yeah, they're not going to lose this one.
It looks like I think they finally got the crap out of their system just in time for
But I think
it was just a short bad defensive run for 2 games. Bama's defense.
But Mississippi State looks like they might be sliding a little bit toward the bubble.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Ed, because when they came out of the TV timeout in the I think it was either the Tennessee LSU game or I got Quad Box on. That's one of the positives of YouTube TV, the Quad Box asset. Is it came out of the TV timeout, and I was in Lenardi's last 4 in. We were just talking about. He had Nebraska, Georgia, and Oklahoma as part of his last 4 in. I forget who the fourth one was, but I was like, what? Like, really? Like,
No, for me, it's my last 4 is Arkansas, Indiana, Southeast Missouri State, and American.
So he had Indiana as his first 4 out, which if Indiana puts a little run together, I think they could be in.
And they've been energized since now that we know that Mike Woodson's not going to be there.
Huge. He announces it, and then boom, huge. They kicked the ever-loving crap out of Purdue, and Purdue's a pretty doggone good team.
Oh yeah, Purdue's really good.
Yeah, guys. I hate to cut it short, but I'm going to have to get out of here and dip a little bit.
You're just going to watch the season premiere of Full Swing 3. We know it.
Thank you so much, Jason Marks, CBS Sports, for joining
Thanks,
us.
Jason. We love you, buddy.
All right, take care, guys.
Ed,
Hell yeah, guys.
I'm curious, is Ed still there, or did he?
I'm right
lost?
here.
Ed, what did you think about Indiana putting it on Purdue? Were you as surprised as I was?
Especially after seeing the first half. Yeah. Because Purdue was up 12.
Yeah. I mean, I did not see that second half coming whatsoever. And then I go, why hasn't Indiana played like are they really that happy that Woodson's retiring that now they're finally like, oh, all right, we're gonna try now. We're gonna actually give a damn about playing basketball. Because if they played like that second half in most of their games, they'd probably be, where are they at right now? Are they even 500 a game over 500 conference? Let me see here.
They're close.
Where are they at? They're not even 500 yet in conference. They're 7-9.
7-9.
if they played like they played in that second half against Purdue, and I get it's a big rivalry there in in Indiana, but if they played like that, they'd be above Oregon. Which Oregon, I know they got a good win a few days ago, but Oregon lately hasn't really impressed me.
But no. Oregon's a lock. You know why?
Because they're non-conference.
They have 9 quad wins, which is tied for the most in the country.
They don't have as many as Auburn. Come on now.
They have 9 quad one. Well, I was watching it on TV the other
I
day.
think Auburn has more than that.
Oh,
But
Oregon's a lock.
Oregon, you're right. Oregon has a lot of quad one wins, and they
they
played
do.
a damn good non-conference schedule. Which, there is some the discussions on the internet, of late is, do they put too much into the early season stuff? The Maui Invitationals of the world, the Puerto Rico shootout, you name it. There's a ton of them now. The one in Vegas and the one in Orlando, et cetera, et cetera. Are they putting too much into that when, with the transfer portal, some of these teams aren't like, they're treating those games really as preseason games just to figure out, rotations and sets and how guys mesh when they're on the court together. Whereas others, they that have more of
there
the
is no official preseason, so the games count. I mean,
There's a few
right. But
teams
my point to it is, I understand they count, Ed. I'm not disagreeing with that. But does the committee place too much emphasis on a game in November versus how a team is actually doing in March?
I don't think.
Well, the way I see it is,
we don't
if
know.
you're looking
I'd
at
love
wins
to know
and
what
losses,
the weighted measurement is in that tournament committee meeting when they're actually not only putting teams in the tournament, but then obviously the seeding. Because right now, like, I'll give you another example. Obviously, Kansas is in the tournament, and right now I think they have them as a 4 or a 5 seed. When I tell you right now,
That's crazy.
they shouldn't be anything higher than a 7. Really they should be an 8.
Are they a lock? No matter how much they could collapse late.
They'd have to lose every one of their last games to not make it, but otherwise, yeah, they're basic because of what they did in the non-conference.
they're about a 6 seed. I'd say I'd say 6 or 7 seed is accurate for Kansas. And
right, but they're saying right now they're a 4 seed, Dr. Balls.
Yeah, but I don't think that'd be right. That'd be too much credit.
I agree. That's what I'm saying.
They still could get overseeded.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And because of now and why do the seeds matter? The seeds matter more now than when, obviously, Dr. Balls and Ed, you guys go all the way back to when it was a 48 team and a 52 team tournament. I only know
a 32 team tournament.
I'm sorry, Ed. And then I only know it as a 64, but the difference is now why the seeds matter. It's because of the pods of the locations. When the 64 first started, if you were in the West and you're from, say, Florida, well, you knew your first round and second round might be in Seattle, and then Sweet 16 Elite 8 might be in Los Angeles, just for sake of argument. Now with the pods, your first and second, they try to put you, so those pods will host, games from the East region, the Midwest, and maybe even the West, even though those teams are not, like, the teams that are at that physical location are not in the same regional, if that makes sense.
Yeah, well, that's why you got Kentucky. If Kentucky was seeded 4, was a 4 seed, when they were in the East region, they would play in Denver in the first round, even though that's not in the East by any means.
Right, and now it's like, for example, if you're Auburn, and I think we're all kind of under the auspices that Auburn's going to be the overall number 1, barring a massive collapse. They'll be the overall number 1 seed in the tournament. They will play their first round and second round games in the first weekend in Lexington. in Kentucky.
Oh yeah.
Assuming they get out of that, then for the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight, they will be in Atlanta. And so seeding is important because that's going to be hard for any team not from that region to come in there, because Auburn is going to travel. They'll travel up to Lexington. They'll be packing the house for those, versus it was a more fair fight for the lower seeded team when both teams had to go to, say, Corvallis, Oregon. That's what I'm saying.
Well,
Like, an example that was last year, Yale upset Auburn. Well, both teams were way out of their neighborhoods. They were out in Boise, Idaho.
Yes.
So
What a
seeding
game.
matters more now because of the pod, the physical location of the games.
I agree with that. Definitely agree with that. And now, if you're looking at seeding right, and you've got a team that, let's say, going back to Kentucky, since they lost two of their main players, they've been kind of slipping a little bit, and they'll probably get in the tournament, but they'll be lucky. But the fact that they played Duke early in the season and beat them when they were number one, and now Duke is probably the number 2 overall seed, right, is not going to hurt them come Selection Sunday, right? The fact that you play
feather in Kentucky's cap.
So you got to play those games, even if you're not going to weight them as hard at the end of the season. You got to say, well, these guys in the non-conference, they went out and took on all comers. They played Carolina, they played Duke, they played Kansas, which, for example, and they went out and played the best teams they could, played the best tournaments they could, and let the chips fall where they may. And in Auburn's case, that's going to work out for them as well as a number 1 seed. The fact that they played an aggressive
Auburn
early season.
played a hellacious non-conference schedule. I mean, they've got a win over Houston, a close loss to Duke. I mean, they make no bones about it. Auburn played a damn good so did Alabama, so did Kentucky. And I think, since we're hardcore college basketball fans, the 4 of us, I'm okay with the tournament rewarding it because we want to see those games. Because otherwise, if they don't reward it, what we're going to get. We're going to, it's going to be Kentucky against Middle Tennessee State and Towson, and we don't want to see that. We want quality games early in the season. Not, well, they went, 15-0 in non-conference. Yeah, well, who'd they play? They played, Lincoln Technical Institute and, DeVry, and then Truck Drivers College and, whatnot. So, no offense, we love our truck drivers, but they don't have what you'd call a great basketball team. So, I guess I'm okay with it, but I think at some point, there has to be a happy medium with that and with, the teams that get hot towards the end of the year is my point regarding that subject. Because some of these teams with the portal, it's going to take them 5 to 10 games to get, synchronized with all these, I mean, who a team you were talking about last week, Dr. Balls, St. John's, granted, they came together a lot quicker, but a lot of that team is new to the team because of the transfer portal.
Absolutely. But the fact that he was able to get them going fairly quickly allowed them to rise in the rankings early enough to solidify a good seed later on. Really, that's how
Rick Pitino's a hell of a coach. We know that. I mean, so but not every coach is Rick Pitino. But yeah, I mean, and to be honest, right now, St. John's is a 4 seed, which I think is too low. I think they should at least be a 3 seed
or a 2.
If they win the Big East tournament, then I would agree with you, Ed. They should be a 2. But if they don't win the Big East tournament, then just a 3, because they're going to win the Big East regular season.
Yeah, I agree. That's right. If they don't win the Big East tournament, they're a 3. And anything other than the 3 is a mistake.
Yes, I agree. Now, Dr. Balls, you're talking about Kentucky guys are hurt. and I know that stinks because you want all your guys to be able to go. But on a bigger level, and you know Big Blue Nation better than any of us here in the cast, is Big Blue Nation a little nervous now that the SEC is really, Greg Sankey is kind of not officially mandated it, but kind of put out there that, he wants the SEC to take a stronger interest in basketball and put more money into it, to see that now, it's not Kentucky and the seven dwarves, so to speak, but now it's going to be a dogfight year in and year out. Are you happy about that? Or are you not so happy? I mean, because many years ago it was, okay, we know Kentucky's coming out of the SEC, and then there will be maybe one or two other teams.
No, I think you want that, Sean. But you want if you're Kentucky, you want all the competition you can get. You want the other teams in the conference to be better, because our big picture is banners, right? So SEC dominance is just one aspect of being a blue blood. The real thing that matters for us is hanging banners and representing it, and you do that by playing the best teams and getting the most exposure you can, and having kids come to your program and having somebody that can coach them, right? And our experience over the last 5 years was a guy that could get kids to come to the program but not coach them, and we had early exits in the NCAA tournament. Now this year, with the first-year head coach of Kentucky, with the team thrown together out of mid-major, the best mid-major players, right? But still mid-major players, he's managed to put us in the same position we was in last year with Calipari, with a team full of 5 stars. So, I look at it and I say, well, if he wins the first round game, he would have beat the results for Calipari for the last 5 years. So it's a good building block. The fact that Auburn and Alabama in particular, and Tennessee also, have risen to the top of the conference and are a genuine product, gives you a benchmark to say what you've got to fight against. And we know what we've got to do. This is the same thing we've always had to do at Kentucky, which is put the best players on the floor, the ones that want to play for the jersey and aren't there to leave in 1 year for the NBA. And if we do get guys that are so good they can leave in 1 year and go to the NBA, so be it. But I think we're going to develop players, and we're going to recruit. We're going to use our NIL money to get strategic transfers, and I think Coach showed that he could get them early. Here's the difference that I've seen in him, is that he could get players ready earlier in the season than Calipari could. So I think it's a great thing for
the SEC is going to be number 1 or number 2, and I'm not saying they'll be number 2. They could remain number 1 as the top conference in college for quite some time, because they have the best group of coaches, and it's not close. And another year or two, look out for Ole Miss.
Yeah, Ole Miss showed a little bit here and there this year, and a lot of people's talking about Ole Miss. And then Texas A&M with Buzz Williams has been real consistent. That's also a coach, an underrated coach that's in the SEC. But there's other great
coach, but Chris Beard is a hell of a coach.
Oh yeah, Chris Beard's
I would argue. You said it's not close. I would argue it's a little closer than you saying it's that far apart. The Big East has a lot of great coaches, Ed. So
go to McDermott. Then you got Sampson out at Houston, crook or not. Now he's not a crook because you can openly pay players, right?
Right. Yeah, so Kelvin Sampson is the happiest guy in the world now that you can pay players, because. And even then he wasn't paying. He was he was texting and calling recruits when you weren't supposed to text or call them. Like that's, to me, that show cause for 5 years was way out of line by the NCAA, which, as we've seen in most things, the NCAA is does dumb things, and now finally they're being challenged in a court of law, and they're mostly losing. As we saw last year with, remember they tried to hold that wide receiver for North Carolina out, and they took him to court, and it was like, bada bing, bada boom. This kid's he can play. So
did the same thing Kentucky 2 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, so for too long the NCAA was doing dumb things and getting away with it. Now they're finally being held accountable. which is what most of us want, because we want to see these kids play, and don't want them held out again. We want to see good coaches coach, and we don't want them held out for, little, in Ed's case, I will say the one thing I did agree with him with Michigan on is, if Jim Harbaugh buys a kid a cheeseburger, he shouldn't, be forced to not coach 4 or 5 games because he bought a guy a cheeseburger. I mean, it doesn't pass the common sense test.
And Bruce
What
Pearl
if
too
it's
at
a
Tennessee.
Wagyu burger at BurgerFi though?
So Bruce Pearl gets sections put on his program at Tennessee because he fed kids. He brought them to his house and fed them. Now you tell me as a grown man that's leading man that I don't want to feed them, take them to my house, let them frolic.
If it's at you're the coach and they come to your house and you make them a meal, that's stupid.
Well,
It's
the
absolutely.
NCAA used to have a rule that a kid couldn't get a job.
Yeah, I mean the NCAA,
and I'm surprised nobody took that to court sooner because the NCAA would have got clobbered.
and they used to have so obviously the Monday through Friday meals are provided in the dorms, and then they would get like $15 per day on the weekends per diem. That's barely one meal, So you expect these kids to starve on a weekend? Get out of here.
But it depends on when you're talking about. But today that is definitely barely one meal.
Yeah, I mean, it's $15 I mean, you go to the grocery store, even if you weren't going to a restaurant.
Now I can remember a time when you could take $15 and eat 3 meals at fast food, but it's been a while.
It's been a while. You're right. I mean, so it's good to see the NCAA getting, punched in the face in courts of law when universities challenge them in these just arcane, silly rules that they have in place. And Ed's absolutely right. Like they couldn't get a job. I mean, come on. That's even in the off season, right? I mean, they can't get a job. And everyone else on campus can. It's
like they were putting them into a situation where rules had to be broken, and then they were going around and they were going around and enforcing. I don't know how they were doing it, but they weren't doing it fairly.
They were trying to just set traps to make themselves relevant as an organization.
Gotcha games.
You're right, exactly. And that's not why they were initially created. It was to make the student athlete experience better, and they were doing everything in their power to make that experience worse. So, it's obvious why the conferences now, the power conferences have the power. It's because they said, this is enough is enough. This is stupid. Because the schools in these conferences are the ones paying, now they can pay the players, with the NIL, but even before that, they were paying the room and board, the tuition and everything. And it was like, well, wait a minute. Now you're telling me this basketball player, football player, baseball player, whatever, can't play because of some silly, it just didn't pass the common sense test. And it's good that it's finally, and hopefully, we can ultimately get rid of them one day and have a more common sense governing body. But, the one thing they do hold is they hold the rights to, both men's and women's basketball tournaments and, the baseball and softball tournaments, which are huge money makers and draws. And, thankfully football is not held to that. Football is older than the NCAA, so it's able to do its own thing. And that's why we have the CFP. But, I mean, it's these little, I mean, you're still seeing it every now and then. You'll see this team had violated this NCAA rule. And you go, well, what was the rule? And you look at it and you go, yeah, this is dumb.
All right, so Bama's up 33-20.
No, Bama's where are you? You are behind, man.
I really am, I guess.
It's 53-27 at halftime.
Yeah, that's what I just said. That's what I was on the way to saying. 53-27.
They're
maybe
killing them.
Yep.
We knew Bama was going to kill them.
All right, so what's on the horizon, guys?
Oh my goodness! So if we look for tomorrow, just tomorrow night, we have Michigan State and Maryland. As Evan said, that'll be a Titanic matchup.
That's a great matchup.
I am predicting a Maryland win in this one. I do not predict that Maryland will win the Big Ten tournament. I do predict Maryland to win tomorrow night.
I like Maryland at
Michigan-
home as well, Ed. They play
Michigan
really
will
well in that building.
Michigan State will probably either win or be tied for the regular season championship.
76-72 Maryland. That's my pick on that game. 76-72 Maryland. And then also we got Kentucky and Ole Miss. I'm not Kentucky and Ole Miss, but Auburn. Ole Miss is at Auburn. Auburn has their at home. They have a chance to blow that out, but Ole Miss is a pretty good team. They might make it close. I believe it'll be entertaining. Kentucky's at Oklahoma. We ain't played well,
Kentucky
especially
to win that game. I like Kentucky to win that game because I don't have any faith in Oklahoma to close games.
Did Georgia beat Florida?
Yeah,
They did. Yep.
Wow.
Florida came all the way back and took the lead, and then Georgia closed them out 7-0 run to end it.
That's right. Last
Damn.
four in Nebraska.
Damn it,
Arkansas,
Nikki.
Ohio State,
Nikki's got
Wake
nothing to
Forest.
say.
Wow.
Oh, you're
Yes,
right.
she said-
I got to put my glasses on. Ooh, shit, I missed it.
Nebraska,
Damn it.
Arkansas, Ohio State, Wake Forest, last four in. Ohio State should not be in the tournament.
Yeah, I don't agree with the Ohio State being last.
That's what it says. I'm just reading what ESPN's telling me. And I mean, Wake Forest.
Who was first four out, though?
I didn't see the first four out.
Here, I think I've got that. I've got Jerry Palm. He says the last four in are Indiana, Arkansas, Wake Forest, and Xavier, and the first four out are Texas, North Carolina, Boise State, and Georgia.
I think North Carolina's going to sneak their way in. I don't like it, but I think they are.
They could,
Well,
but Georgia is, they're 5-10 in the conference, so I think at best they've got to be next four out right now. They need some wins.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Ed. I can't. In good conscience, 10 losses, and they might get a couple more here before it's all said and done. Double-digit losses in I don't care, if you're in the best conference in the world. You got to win some games, and tonight, what is that, win number 5 for them in the conference? And we've been playing conference games since the start of the new year, and we're almost in, Saturday will be March.
So your logic is valid. The problem is because the conferences are so big that not the strength of schedule within the conference is not balanced at all.
No, it's not. No.
So they got to find a way
to argue that now, with particularly the Big Ten and the SEC and the Big 12 being as big as they are with the amount of teams, they should probably add 2 more conference games to their schedules, so you have a better, understanding of who is good and who is not good.
Yeah, because in a perfect world, you could say, okay, you're under 500 in your conference. You automatically can't get a bid, and let some of the smaller schools get in it, and let's get all fired up about some crazy upsets on the first weekend.
Well, and that's an argument the NCAA or not so much the NCAA, excuse me, the CBS, because they got the rights to the tournament. Their argument is from a couple years ago, because there were so many upsets, and you had these, 3 of the 4 teams in the Final Four were not household names. They go, well, our viewership is better. Well, tough McNuggets, but that's why we love that. So to me, it's if you love college basketball and you're a diehard college basketball fan, you're gonna watch it all the way to the end, regardless of what teams make it. To me, it's the fair weather, the casual fan that goes, well, I'm not going to watch the Final Four because a North Carolina, a Kentucky, UCLA isn't in it. You know, it's San Diego State or a VCU or somebody else.
We were all watching Florida Gulf Coast, Dunk City, trying to beat Kansas State to get to the Elite Eight.
Love it. The great FGCU, baby.
Because
City.
not only that, they blew out their first two opponents.
They killed them. Oh, they killed them. And I love it. You know, and I had, or I'll give you another. Remember when, and this is near your neck of the nape, University of Maryland, Baltimore County.
Look, I don't like Virginia anyway. And even though it was an effective style of basketball, I didn't like that, we'll beat you 52-39 shit. But I was going nuts watching that game. And I mean, everybody at work was talking about it. I mean, it was incredible because it was like, geez, can they do it? Can they? And then it's like they're going to do it. And then they just said, fuck it, we're going to blow them out.
It was great, but I don't want to see a UMBC squeezed out because we can put a 6-12 power team, when they've already got 8 or 9 teams already in the tournament. Let's let the little guy, get into the tournament and see what they got.
But they were only in it because they won their conference tournament. I mean,
right?
So that's the drawback.
And I'm saying some of these teams that don't win their conference tournament, these mid majors or even small majors, they have an untimely blip, which is in their conference tournament, and suddenly they're out. That's not right.
Yeah, if you take a team like a good team that has a little bit of a pedigree in the tournament, would be a Norfolk State. If they don't win their conference tournament, and if they could get in, and I'm the coach, I'm showing them the Missouri game.
Right. Yeah. No, so.
When Hampton beat Iowa State.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because that was, Norfolk State beat Missouri, I think, pretty badly, but that Hampton-Iowa State game went down to the final second. So that was just complete drama.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I get it. Some of the people want to see the big names in the Final Four, but for those of us that are, truly, from Midnight Madness in November to that first Monday in April, that are truly diehard college basketball fans, it's don't water the tournament down just so you get more power teams.
And unfortunately for me, it wasn't too long ago that Ohio spanked Michigan in the first round. Beat them bad.
Not Ohio State, but the Ohio Bobcats.
That's right.
From Athens.
In Athens, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't Frank Solich coach there after he coached at Nebraska?
Yes, he did. That was That was a good time for Ohio football. That's not too far from me. And Bailey lives down the road. Bailey lives close by there.
That's our good buddy. He's not happy with Porter Moser at Oklahoma right now. That's for sure.
Nah, he's unhappy about that.
But I think Moser gets one more year, and if he doesn't get it done next year, then it'll be time to look for a new coach.
Kind of like the same as the football program, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Brent Venables is going to get it turned around eventually.
I'm a little worried about week 2.
What's week 2?
Michigan at Oklahoma.
Oh yeah.
And is that in that's in Norman?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Michigan playing a actually decent non-conference game away from Ann Arbor.
That is an interesting game.
They're not bringing Hawaii in, and then bringing in Army, and then bringing in.
We got those. We got those.
At App State. Are they going to bring App State back?
Michigan certainly doesn't want to bring Army in again.
Oh God, I was petrified.
Took overtime, right, to beat them?
A missed field goal by Army.
It happens, guys.
This was
All
supposed
right.
to be a 40 to
They brought
nothing at
Notre Dame.
halftime, and Ed could go on out to Ann Arbor, down in the town, and get himself a steak and a milkshake. And no, he had to stay to the end because Army was not going away quietly.
No, I go to Zingerman's to get the best pastrami sandwich on earth.
Whoa. Better than Cats? I don't know about that.
All right. Well, I'd give Cats the edge because that is a massive sandwich.
I mean, so much meat and so delicious. But I'm sure Ann Arbor's is very good too. I haven't been there, but I'll try it out when I'm finally there. But yeah, I mean,
Go to Buddy's Pizza too.
that'll be a heck of a game down there in Oklahoma for sure. Is Underwood finally? I mean, have they just okay? It's going to be Underwood to start, or no?
He's already turning heads. So
I trust me. I'm reading. I read. Yeah.
I think that Moore is probably smart enough to not anoint him as the starter. But he's going to be the guy.
If you read anything from what is it, Go M Live or whatever it is, I mean,
Yeah.
he's already better than Patrick Mahomes. So,
But
I
mean,
mean,
I
that'd be
would
for
think
what
that
is it?
I would think that
14 million a year. You guys are shelling out for him.
But
Jeez.
But I think that guy. Oh God, I can't remember his name. He was the 4-star that came in, and they redshirted him, and everybody wanted him to play. I assume he's gone.
I would be if this 5-star is there now. I would have hit the portal.
He might give it a year. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to hurt his eligibility, so he could certainly,
Imagine if you paid per touchdown and per win, right, for certain players, right?
I mean,
You got a
Michigan
quarterback-
at one point in time had a great 5-star quarterback. Obviously, they weren't paying him at the time. That, Lloyd Carr decided was better than Tom Brady, and we know how that worked out.
They were comparable in college, though. That's a fact.
No, they weren't. They really weren't, because when finally Lloyd, pulled his head out of his ass and went with Brady, they won the rest of their games, and then they beat Alabama in the Orange Bowl.
35-34.
Yep, on a missed extra point of all things.
I remember it.
That was a hell of a game. But once Carr finally said, you know what, Brady's the senior, he's the captain, we're going with him, the team rallied, and they won all their games basically with no problem.
Well, yeah, it was true
But
shit.
when they were doing the Tom Landry, when Tom Landry couldn't figure out if he was going to go with Craig Morton and or Roger Staubach, and first quarter Brady played, then Henson played in the second quarter, or vice versa. The team was disjointed. That's probably why they didn't win the national championship that year. If he had just went with Brady from the get-go, that team might have won the national championship. Because Brady was the guy. All the teammates said, they go, Tom was the guy, not Drew. Henson was talented, no doubt, as an athlete. But Brady, as a quarterback, had the leadership, which obviously now, hindsight's 2020, so we know that.
He's a bad motherfucker.
But Henson was Henson was great in both football and baseball, but he just never panned out. So we're going to find out if this Underwood kid is the next greatest thing since sliced bread.
He's going to get his chance, it looks like.
I would love to see him starting in that Oklahoma game.
So if you look at it, Michigan had a great defense last year. I don't believe they really fell off defensively. It's just the offense couldn't stay on the field long enough to rest the defense. So if they got any offense,
defense was not good early,
but they tightened up into a great unit. So if they got a team that can score just a little bit more than they did last year, it'll be a huge improvement. My opinion is if Michigan can average 35 points a game, they'll contend for the Big Ten championship.
Are they going to stay in Day's head though, or is Day going to finally get over this?
Well, he won an Annie, man.
I think Ohio State finally gets off the snide and beats them next year.
It's going to be one of those deals, Ed. You might not want to look when it happens.
Well,
Because there's going to be a lot of anger there.
Wait a minute. Ohio State loses a fair amount.
They bring back plenty of offensive talent. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on.
Somebody's got to get Jeremiah Smith the ball.
Yeah, and in that Aaron Noland, isn't he a highly recruited quarterback that has been waiting in the wings?
Unproven like Underwood.
Fair. But when you have good targets to throw the ball to, I mean, nobody thought this kid from Kansas State would win the national championship this year, but he did. I don't think he's going to be much in the pros, but when you have the receivers,
he could be a good career backup.
Yeah, I mean, but when you have the wide receivers, which Ohio State of recent vintage, it was Alabama prior to Ohio State being basically wide receiver. I mean, good receivers can make mediocre quarterbacks look good.
Anything else anybody want to throw out before I click this outro?
I think it's crazy that we're 3 weeks away from Selection Sunday. This season
it's amazing.
Quickly coming to a close. I mean, it's going to be fun. I think the conference tournaments are going to tell us are going to answer a lot of the questions, pieces to the puzzle.
And so are we. And that's why you should share, like, subscribe, and everything it takes to electronically connect with us on Smacking Off the Podcast so you can get your hoodie.
Buy a t-shirt.
That's right. Buy a hoodie. Odie with a goodie.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the tournament's done, we'll get into Nikki's favorite season finally, which is college baseball, which over the past weekend, I went to that, Stanford Cal basketball game, but I got to campus early, and which, by the way, Stanford Cal was a heck of a game. Came down to the last minute, but as I was getting to campus,
sit wherever you wanted.
No, it was packed house at Maples. Because it was the rivalry. It was Cal against Stanford.
Right.
I mean, if they were both winless, the place would still be packed because of the rivalry here in the Bay Area. But I got to campus early, and baseball was just finishing up, and I was like, "Oh yeah, baseball has started." Okay, so we're not we're a couple more weeks, and we'll be hot and heavy with college baseball. So stick around to Smacking Off.
Absolutely. All right, guys. See you Tuesday.
All right, gents.
All right.
Enjoy it. Have a good week.
Great show, everybody. Good night.
Good night.